The skin of extra charges on airlines now after the competition watchdog announced that it was investigating Ryanair overcharging parents to sit with children. I've got to be honest, this has happened to me. My 4-year-old was at the opposite end of the plane from me once upon a time, not that long ago. Travel expert Ash Bhardwaj joins us from home. Talk us through what happened. Ash, you're laughing because you've travelled with a 4-year-old and you're thinking that might not be a bad thing.
Yep. I mean, yeah, as parents, it's a nice idea that we don't have to keep our kids entertained for a flight. But also, of course, we want to sit next to them for their safety, and everyone else on the flight wants us to sit next to them to keep them entertained. And actually, there is mandatory regulation that if you're traveling with a child between the age of 2 and 11, the airline is obliged to sit you next to them without having to pay those extras. But what it appears that Ryanair were doing is they were charging the parent £8 to get their seat, and then the kids were being able to sit around there next to them. This also applied for carers of people with disabilities. Now, the CMA investigated this. It appeared that Ryanair was the only airline doing it, and they've said that it wasn't right. So Ryanair has said it's changed its policy. Under this new way of doing things, kids will be seated next to an accompanying adult on the same reservation free of charge. The CMA says its investigation will continue, but one thing to remember, that doesn't mean the whole family will be sitting next to each other. So if you've got 2 parents and say 4 kids, this doesn't mean they're all guaranteed to be on a single row. You could have one parent with 2 kids at the front, one with 2 kids at the back.
Just talking about the changes there, Ryanair boss Michael O'Leary said it would reluctantly adjust to this industry standard, but insists its long-standing policy fully complied with the laws and had given families certainty.
Seats are one thing, but there are plenty of other things that budget airlines can charge you for. You've got some hacks to help save us some money, haven't you, Ash?
Yeah, one of the things that always costs extra money is luggage. So what people have been doing is trying to find different ways to make sure they don't have to pay for that extra piece of larger cabin luggage or for the hold luggage that you check in. There's lots of different ways. I've seen people with fishing jackets for stuffing everything into their pockets. But the idea is to try and get as much as you can into one of those smaller cases that you can carry on and stick under the seat in front of you. People stick their videos online about how they do this. We found a couple on TikTok. And what these guys have done is they've rolled up their clothes so that they go smaller. They've used little packing cubicles to squeeze it down. Now, you don't need to buy those sorts of packing cubicles. I use the old dry bags that I used to take on expeditions or in the army, stuff everything in, squeeze the air out and put it in. But it's about making sure you've got a bag that will fit under the seat. And we've sent one into the studio to put it to the test.
I've got that.
This
I think
one
the one
cost
that was
around 20
online.
quid. Yeah, this was one that was found online, and it was advertised as fitting Ryanair's carry-on luggage allowance. We've measured it, we've checked it fits that size, but let's see how much we can get inside. You see, we've had 2 different ones there. There's the one that looks more like a wheelie case, and this is a backpack. So you can fit absolutely loads in there.
And
but
in
what really matters...
I've got to be honest, Ash, in proper mum mode, I've gone through this bag and we're not mucking about saying this is a week's worth of holiday gear. I've counted all the pants. There's 7 pairs of pants. There's flip-flops. There's socks. Everything that you would need for a week's holiday. Oh. Tom, our colleague Tom, has packed this bag. And seriously, everything. It's not like, oh, he's put his accessories in there, his chargers, his converters. And the thing is, this is one of those bags that I think will go under. The trick for me with this is the fact that it's...
That's it, shove it in, girl.
I can't get up on the breakfast bar and sit on it. Can you sit on this, please? The thing about a soft bag is if you have the straps like this, Ash, you can make it tighter and smaller, can't you? Look, if you pull that down, it gets a bit smaller. The thing you didn't mention, I'm very surprised at, is a vacuum bag. You know, you can get those little bags online that you suck the air out of. That shrinks everything down.
Inside as well. Yeah.
Shrink wrap.
Well, that's why I use the dry bag, and much like what you're doing there, it just requires a bit of extra effort to squeeze it all out. So rather than using vacuum, you're just using your strength to try and squeeze it all out. But actually, that version you've got there, Helen, is my preferred version, having a backpack where you can pull the straps down. And one of the reasons for that is you can then adjust it for different airlines. If you've got one of those fixed size cases like Gethin had over there, that might work well for one airline, but every airline actually has different allowances, and it's by the depth, the height and the weight. So you don't know if you buy one for, say, Wizz Air and Ryanair. Actually, those two are the strictest. So one that, like those two that fits for Wizz Air and Ryanair, will work for the others.
Okay.
But you always want to check on the airline's website. Don't just check on the bag's website. If the bag says this is fine for Ryanair, make sure you go to Ryanair or Wizz Air and check, does it actually fit their new restrictions? Because they do change them every now and again.
Okay, we've got the small bag then. That's in the cabin. What about being a bit more cost effective when it comes to the big end, Ash?
Yeah, so that's the check-in luggage, the one that goes in the hold where you put the tag, it goes off down the little chute and then you collect it at the far end. Now, when you book your ticket, when you're first paying for it, you will normally get something where it gives you different bundle or package options. And the airlines make it look like this is the only way to buy the hold luggage. And it's shown early in the booking process. We tried booking with a large suitcase and we looked through. It costs an extra $49.97 with Ryanair, $64.98 with EasyJet, and $53 with North Atlantic. But those bundles include other things that you might not want. So they often include things like a guaranteed seat where you basically pick your seat reservation in the first place, maybe even food. But what if you only want the luggage? So we stuck with the basic fare, and then at the end, we added the hold luggage separately, and that worked out about 20% cheaper across all three airlines. And the same goes for car hire. Often they offer you a particular type of car hire when you're booking your flight, but if you go and check with the company that was providing that car hire, it's often less expensive. And it really comes down to the amount of admin you want to do. How much is your admin time worth the cost extra that you're paying it by buying it through the airline? Another thing that I'd love to suggest is there may be a different way to actually get to your destination. We tend to think about flying, but particularly for Northern Europe, you can get there by the ferry, or you can use the Channel Tunnel. We drive your car on the train, it goes to the other side. You can take as much luggage as you want. And sometimes it's less expensive and sometimes even faster once you take in the time to get to the airport parking, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, a European adventure, you might say. What about travel insurance then? Is it better to book through the airline or is it better to book separately?
I would say initially start looking separately. A simple search with Wizz Air showed that it was $22.42 for a Gatwick to Valencia piece of travel insurance. Now, we looked online to other websites and buying direct through a price comparison, it could be as cheap as £6.50, and sometimes you get higher levels of cover. Also, when we looked at the Wizz Air option, it wasn't very clear about what excess you were paying. But either way, what I say is always buy your travel insurance at the same time that you're buying your flight, whether that's through the airline or buying it through a price comparison website or directly, because that way you're covered for anything that goes wrong between the point of booking and the point of departure.
Excellent. Being a good packer helps as well, which you are, aren't you?
Oh, I get very smug about my packing.
Pride yourself on it. That almost went... Are you OK? Forgot about the strap, didn't you? Thank you very much, Ash. Getting plans in